time to head on over to our caster so we can get this game underway. It's going to be FaZe versus Native White, and I have Walshy, and I got Sheriff T on the mics.
Thank you so much, Lottie. Really do appreciate it. Definitely be keeping an eye out on that Quadrant versus G1, and we'll keep you updated at home. But we have another matchup ahead of us. FaZe going up against Native White. You have FaZe, who have been, out of the Elite Three, probably the most consistent, always getting top 3 in every one of the last 3 online tournaments. Meanwhile, Native White trying to change the narrative a little bit. They've missed out on the top 8 in every single one of them. But we remember what happened when they got to the land last time. Top 4 back in Charlotte.
That is true, so they're going to have to see if they can keep riding that wave. Generally, we've been seeing mostly kind of consistent results between teams. You know, if they're placing well at the online cups, they're placing pretty strong and well at the live events. Let's see if Native White can put that big asterisk right there for their squad, because like you said, they have not had as close of online placements as they do on land.
So far today, Native White have been excellent. Taking Sentinels, not only taking them to a Game 5, but beating them in that Game 5, but a new challenge appears, and that's going to be FaZe, and FaZe are tough. They play fast, they can outslay, and when it's time to get objective efficient, they'll be right on it. You'll have to make as little mistakes as possible, especially when SnakeBite has himself a rocket launcher.
Mikwen came flying right in there, though. I appreciated that charge. Barcode getting that OS, and it looks like maybe that rocket did not hit the OS. Given how many BR shots we had to see there, there's a chance that OS was still charging up and was unaffected. Because that rocket looked really strong. We're not talking about online rockets here, Tony.
Let me tell you, them rockets, I don't know. They be acting on their own sometimes, so I'm not mad at them whatsoever. Luckily, they were able to finally deal with the overshow player, but it still looks like Native White trying to make a run, trying to make something happen. FaZe desperately need these slays. Roll 2 just baiting out the green side.
Yeah, they're just going to slow this down for a moment as that flag is stopped and decide their next push. I mean, it looked like FaZe were getting a strong amount of slays, but when I look over on our Prowler right now, it's just a 2-kill difference right now. 21 kills for FaZe and 19 kills here for Native White, so even on the slaying front. However, FaZe have had the flag opportunities that we've seen thus far.
Lining up the sniper, but does he know there's a drop ball over toward the long haul side? Yoki getting a big kill onto Renegade to try to open things up for Native White to push forward. The flanking player, Yoki, ends up being spotted. Frosty to be awarded the kill for that one. And now SnakeBite gonna start to heat up with the S7 lining it up. Another body shot is in. Native White looks to get aggressive, but Native White can aggressively hit the black screen.
That was such a great defense there from FaZe, just wisely poking back and forth. You saw SnakeBite repositioning over towards Cut. Didn't want to get caught or isolated over there in the corner by Mangler, so he decided to push on back over towards Flag, and then reposition back over towards like Needler's side after they got those slays.
Frosty wasting no time whatsoever to get that sniper up on the tower side, allowing the rest of his team to start to get aggressive. Once again, we see 2 down for Native White. FaZe want to push up. At the same time, you don't want to give off any angles. You don't want to give off any opportunity for Native White to counter your pushes here. Renegade has a sniper on his side. Frosty has another. 2 snipers on the map. This is going to be tough for Native White.
And also just look at this very similar movement that we saw out of Frosty and SnakeBite when they're both on their flag. Once they got the pressure over on Needler's side, they push back towards Cut, towards Tower if they need to retreat. That's just a systemic knowledge of how their team's going to operate and protect. They know that if they're going to push towards long and green, they don't want to die with sniper over there and give up their power weapon, which can stop the flag run.
Frosty backs down that tower side and ends up right back in it, kind of like you were saying, making sure that tower side is clear. And once again, Native White going 3 down, actually getting squad wiped, and that flag is on the move. By the way, nobody Native White on the map. They're on the black screen. That's going to be 1-0 for FaZe Clan.
And it finally went in their favor, but also remember when I gave that stat just too long ago, Tony, or said it was 21 kills to 19 kills in favor of FaZe? All of a sudden, it's 39 kills to 22 kills. So we're seeing 18 kills just to a mere 3 or 4 kills on the side of Native White. So just massive outslaying as they got the superior positioning and the power weapons.
And it's been like that literally all tournament long. You know, you've seen Renegade being that leading slayer, but Frosty also being the leading damage dealer. Royal 2 always has a high KD. You can never get him off the map, especially with that long-range shot, and that's what makes FaZe so tough to deal with. They are fast, they're in your face, and they win the individual pivotal battles.
And look at this. For the first time, I thought that first flag was running under bridge, which was unorthodox, but they're running a second one there. So I can't tell if this is just special circumstances where FaZe has control of the opposing tower, or this is their new priority, to get control of tower and run it under bridge.
I'm not gonna lie, when I'm playing matchmaking, I'm yelling at my teammates, don't block the courtyard side, don't block the courtyard side. They're like, you know what, let's play through the courtyard side of the map, and it seems to be working. That's 2 flag caps in a row for FaZe, and they both went tower side of the map.
You know, next time I'm playing matchmaking, I'm still gonna say the same thing, because it's not like you're Royal 2 or Renegade. I'm saying, run the flag green and hull and stop blocking courtyard side.
Nice double coming out of SnakeBite. That drop wall is the only thing in between him and Native White going in for the triple. Meanwhile, off screen, you still see members of FaZe lighting up the scoreboard right now. Gilkey ends up getting a mind the gap. Renegade, you gotta watch your step.
I saw Renegade's his indicator just going so far low. I was like, does he know some weird flank route? Does he got something up his sleeve? But no, just taking a little dip off the map.
He thought he had to grapple. You know, he's trying to grapple under the map. Sorry, no grapple. At least not in competitive, but there is a rocket. SnakeBite just barely missing that one, making sure his flank side is covered. The second one will connect. Tapping Bunge will see you in about 10 seconds here. Still with 2 over FaZe. 4 minutes on the clock. No time to get desperate for Native White, but you got to make something happen.
Yeah, regardless, like you said, got to make something happen. You don't need to like force the pull within the next 10 to 30 seconds, but you need to make this play happen if you can. And unfortunately, Gilkey falling down. And a lot of times just 1 kill is enough to stop the flag pull. Make it 2. And FaZe are no longer fearing some sort of pull from the Native White side.
Royal 2 making sure that he clears out the sword side. Now, like a rook on a chessboard, just gonna watch straight through the mid, make sure that nobody's able to cross over that long haul side. Nobody's able to cross over towards the green side. This sword side of the map is so strong right now, especially with the exit route. Now there's no back wall. You can drop right from sword to where the overshield spawns.
I love that analogy, Tony. It's such a great way to describe those lanes of vision that you have from the source side, and they were doing so well with it, just pushing down over. Now we are seeing a few kills here. Barcode getting those slices. That's 3 down here for FaZe, and all of a sudden, Native White have a chance of pulling this flag and getting it far.
Native White putting FaZe right on the respawn screen. This is Native White's opportunity. SnakeBite trying to sit high over toward the tower side. Gilkey with that pistol, making him weak constantly, forcing him to back down, allows enough time for Barcode to sneak in the first cap for Native White. They're within 1.
And all of a sudden, Native White's also pulling another flag, and they have both snipers. In a case like this, if you want to see Barcode getting up high, he has to back down. That is so scary. You get a no-shield Royal 2 and somehow still almost lose the fight.
Flag moving forward towards the cuts. Nobody stopped Gilkey from running this flag, and this flag's going in. That's back-to-back caps. Native White, just like that, right back in the game. In just a minute and 30 seconds, we've seen Native White put 2 on the board. Can we see another?
At this point, it's defense. You need to stop this counter cap, and Barcode falling down, which had the sniper of Native White. Mikwen also falling. Renegade's challenge with the sniper right now is going to be survive until the teammates spawn and until you can get a little more control of your half of the map. You're not really comfortable until you have a sniper on your tower or until you have someone at least pushed out of your base.
We're seeing SnakeBite and Frosty start to address the rocket green side. We do see Renegade by himself. He's the one in charge of grabbing that overshield. Looks like Native White going to punt that one. Renegade steals overshield and has the sniper with no resistance whatsoever. If FaZe were also able to get the rockets on top of that, that could be dangerous for Native White. They're looking to cap a flag here, and as of right now, they got to get Renegade out of their base.
Yeah, they've got 2 down. Renegade on the hunt, clearing out tower, taking that sniper ammo, and this is going to be tough to deal with. Renegade's also unrelenting, just pushing into the flag. Misses a no-scope, but you can see the confidence that he has in his shot. afraid to dive around that corner and go in with that sniper in close range.
SnakeBite just took a peek at that flag and saw 4 different players, didn't blink whatsoever. Easy double cut of him, trusts his teammates to take down the third, and then immediately runs that flag, wasting no time whatsoever. Now SnakeBite already getting it toward the long haul side, but ends up getting beamed by Mikwen from across the map. FaZe want to advance that flag forward. It looks like they're going to be able to do it. Frosty still full shields, even drops the wall to make sure nobody is trailing him. There are some overextenders, though, coming on the offside.
Yeah, SnakeBite getting a double kill off his spawn, and that's the exact right play you want to do. Generally, as a rule of thumb, when you run the flag, if you have the opposing team's half of the map, get it off their side as quick as possible. But once you get back to your half, feel free to trade slays as they overextend.
Native White were able to cap 2 flags in just a minute and a half, but now you have 30 seconds on the clock to try to make something happen, and FaZe look like they're on full defense mode, watching every single angle. First 2 kills, going to Native White. SnakeBite making sure that he stays alive over toward the shotty side.
And even just those small little glimpses of info. SnakeBite looking long haul, saying no other reinforcements coming there. That means they're coming through green, training, or sword side. Barcode winning a crucial one-on-one, but gets taken out. Renegade trying to get this recovery. 3 seconds right now separates FaZe and their first game victory. And Native White are not going to be able to pull that flag again. That's game number 1 going to FaZe Clan.
What a fight by Native White, doing everything they can to tie things up. Like I said, 4 minutes on the clock, only a minute and 30 to cap. Back-to-back caps, tie things up. Sadly, it was FaZe that punched in that 3rd flag cap, or leaving only 30 seconds, and ultimately not enough time for Native White to answer back. FaZe up 1-0 in the series.
1-0, but you got to give credit where credit's due. Native White, their objective efficiency was off the charts there during that 2-minute spree. They got both those flag caps back-to-back against FaZe. And on top of that, too, when you look at the overall slaying, it was 79 kills total for FaZe and 54 kills for Native White. So when you hear that sort of scoreline, you start to think, in a CTF game, that's like a 4-1 scoreline or 4-0. Like when you're out slaying that heavy. So for it to be a neck-and-neck close game like that, where it's just a 1-cap game, I mean, I wouldn't be too ashamed of that from the Native White side. The only fear is, how do you match that slaying power that FaZe is putting out?
I actually had the chance to interview Mikwen not too long ago, and he sat there and said that he wanted his team to adopt a little bit from what FaZe are looking to put out, and that's slay, slay, slay. He's like, there's teams like, the Optics and the SSG that thrive on that objective efficiency, but when it's really hard to be objective efficient? When you're on the black screen, when you're not on the map. So the fact that FaZe are able to slay so heavy, the fact that FaZe are able to up the tempo, Native White want to do the same thing, and we saw that for a bit. Going into Slayer, if Native White can keep that same energy, we could be going to a swing game 3 tied up in the series.
We could indeed, but like you said, you gotta slay, 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 and that is no easy feat against FaZe. The reason we bring up objective efficiency so often is because we start to see these teams about even in slaying power, and that's what it comes down to is who's being more efficient with the objective, who's rotating the ball better, who's taking the smarter routes with the flag. But at some point, if one team's just heavily outslaying, it really doesn't matter. If they're on the black screen, like you said, Tony, you can do whatever you want with the objective.
You'll be calling out. That's what you'll be doing. You turn to an IGL real quick when you're watching that dead cam, but you ain't doing nothing on the map, and that's what happens when you play up against FaZe on Empyrean CTF. Now game 2 will be a Slayer, so will be an opportunity for Native White to kind of change the pace. Going into a Slayer, I believe it's going to be live fire.
Yes, we got the exact same layout that we had in our other series, so it's going to be live fire game 2, followed by Street Stronghold game 3.
Going into live fire, who do you want to see that sniper in the hands of? You know, I love me some flashy plays.
I don't know. So there's, if I'm rooting for Native White here to tie the series back up, I almost gotta say, Barcode, we saw him have the sniper in his hands, and we didn't really see it be the big difference maker, getting even the body shot on someone like Royal 2, having to back down. It felt like Renegade was just able to sprint on up towards the tower and do whatever he wanted when he charged in with sniper, like this clip you're seeing on your screen right now. So from Native White side, I feel like you gotta hand that on over maybe to someone like Mikwen.
I imagine that when FaZe play on a map like Livefire, see, Empyrean plays what? You saw Renegade have a sniper and Frost have a sniper at the same time. There's going to be no arguments. When there's only one sniper, at that point, I see Frosty and Renegade going at it. So I'm like, hold on, I don't get this. SnakeBite's like, wait, what am I, chopped liver? Like, everybody on FaZe can snipe so well and are dangerous once they get the S7 in their hands. It's almost scary. So I feel like Native White's strategy should be, hey, just make sure you keep it out of the hands of anybody.
That is true.
Native White, Slayer, Livefire going to be game number 2. First to 50 kills takes the win, 12 minutes on the clock. We talked about the sniper quite a bit, but one thing we haven't talked about too much is, you know, the combination of having that power-up and also the heat wave. If you get that in your hand, up close and personal, like, sniper's great, but I don't know. I always miss my shots. I prefer a heat wave. I tend to hit a little bit more.
Yeah, these players with heat wave just navigate around the map so intelligently. They are just taking the route so that anyone that they're encountering is somewhere close to mid-range where they can delete them with that weapon. Many other situations, they're just taking the sneaky flank route and getting towards tower and just forcing those close-range fights. So I think we're just seeing these players just smarter and smarter when it comes to that heat wave weapon.
Well, here we go. Without further delay, game number 2 is on the way. FaZe, so far undefeated in Slayer. In fact, so far undefeated in this tournament. Nobody has been able to hand them an L. Maybe Native White can hand them their first one. It's going to be right here on Livefire.
All these players can be focused on that sniper, focused on that heat wave, and going for that overshield. Let's see who wins it off the rip, because that's going to be important for Native White to get a good start here. It looks like Royal 2 lurking down low, looking for this weapon, not seeing much resistance. He's going to decide to grab that heat wave for himself.
Royal 2 immediately taking that heat wave back over toward the A side. Tied up at 1 apiece, and what a slow start here to Livefire. Normally, I expect these teams to gotta get right in, up close and personal, and make this a fast game, especially when dealing with FaZe, but pulling back, making sure they're controlling that A side before pushing up, and now Overshield is there, and it looks like Native White might have won that battle.
Yeah, slow, interesting start indeed. The one part I did like there from FaZe is most teams, they're overly contesting that sniper or doing flanks at the start. They send the right amount of players down to bomb center. If they run into one person going for the heat wave, they melt them, get it right away. If they run into anyone, they get the heat wave, and then they can generally get up high enough, quick enough to contest that sniper. But I felt like the rotation was just a little too slow from FaZe Clan after acquiring the heat wave. They were nowhere to fight for that snipe, and they were a few seconds late for the overshield.
Big kill coming out of Tapping Buns, able to strip away that sniper right for himself. He's been the leading damage dealer and been the leader as far as KD across almost every single game type. Tapping Buns is formerly the #1 player coming from Latin America. He's fit right in here in the US.
Yeah, he has been a staple here in the Halo scene, even since Halo 5, you know, just crushing it when he was playing with that EG roster back in the day. So talent is easily recognizable here in Halo. Doesn't matter what region you are from. Proving it fully here on this Native White squad with 3 major regions being recognized. You have the US squad with with Gilkey and Mikwen. You have Mexico being represented by Tapping Buttons. And they have Barcode coming out from Australia.
Hey, when you're making a team, you know, you gotta get that talent far and wide. You gotta look for it. That's exactly what Native White did. It paid off for them back in Charlotte. A 4th place finish out of open bracket. To be honest, outside of the 3-4 to this FaZe roster that ended up picking up formal, I don't think any team has actually made it out of open bracket and gotten top 4. I can't think of one.
It's rare. It feels like it happens every few years or so within Halo. I remember some of the early ones happened with something like 5K with Roy, Lunchbox, Fear, and Hokum. So it'll be interesting to see what squads keep that happening in future years. But Halo talent really gets discovered over a long period of time, so it's rare that you have a squad like this somehow get lowered in the lower bracket.
I was watching on my screen SnakeBite with Overshield walk right past Tapping Buns, who was hiding in that corner. The back smack for Tapping Buns onto the Overshield SnakeBite might just change things a little bit here. For Native White or FaZe, they adapt right back down to the tower side. Frosty hiding in the shadows, waiting for anybody to challenge him here in the Shadow Realm.
Interesting way. He's just kind of poking in and out of that shroud, just trying to get visibility in anyone coming up towards tower so he can duck away and hide away if needed. I believe he was still shielded from anyone towards top center based on the side of that sphere that he was on. I've also heard that Frosty plays a lot of Valorant from time to time too, so maybe getting some practice with some smokes in there.
Woo! Woo! My gosh, that's why they call him the Demon, Renegade! With the double, almost turning into a triple. Either way, Native White goes 3 down and FaZe. They phasing up.
Yeah, they are activating right now. A 7-kill lead here for FaZe Clan. And that's such a strong position to be in. Because consider this, even from Native Whites, let's say best case scenario, they somehow kill all 4 members of FaZe. They have to do it again to somehow tie the game.
Things going from bad to worse, bad to worse here for Native White as you see FaZe start to increase their lead, 28-23. The last thing you want to do is allow Renegade and FaZe to get a hold of that overshield. So although the Shroud screen was up, it looks like Native White able to steal it away. Barcode, he's the man of the hour right now. If Native White are going to eat away at this lead, it's going to be because Barcode and this overshield.
Yeah, Barcode's got that bandit in his back pocket. Let's see what he decides to do here. Decides to push in against 2 members of FaZe. SnakeBite's going to tail it and run, but not going to escape. Gonna have to reload, and that's gonna be 2 kills acquired. Just the action keeps happening back tower. Somehow, Native White having 2 members fall, and it's just non-stop back and forth here. You'd think that the back tower is a power position based on how these players are fighting back there.
Making sure that C side is clear, making sure that tower side is available for you is exactly what both of these teams want. And like you said, Native White continue to funnel players over towards the mud side, making sure tower side is clear. They are not allowing FaZe to have the favorable side of the map, or at least not easily.
Nicely indeed, but Native White at least closed that lead. It's now only a 3-kill lead for FaZe. You also don't have all these massive amounts of power weapons or power-ups in the hands of FaZe at this moment, so this is a good chance here. Even though Native White's down by 4, they can get a couple kills and turn this around.
There was once a 7-8 kill game, now back down to 4. Native White putting himself back within striking distance, but every time you see Native White claw the way back into a little forward, FaZe do something to widen that distance once again. The double push now coming in for FaZe, making sure the bottom side is clear. SnakeBite waiting for the bait and switch. The nade's gonna keep both players back. They're trying to funnel towards this tiny doorway, but the nade's keeping them back. Looks like they're gonna actually just pull right out of that strategy, wrap around, make a little bit of longer rotation. They want the C side.
Look how FaZe are running into duos. There's different ways you can get angles on opponents. One is being right next to your teammate and having that secondary angle. Another way is having longer lines of sight, someone being in a power position like top tower. And so it seems like FaZe kind of opts for both. They have someone like Renegade being anchoring over here at window, laying down shots across the map, and they have 2 players there, so as soon as they see one opponent, they're able to melt them. Tie game though for a second, somehow. Native White able to bring that back. Every single time I feel like I'm seeing FaZe members in decent positions, but Native White just able to answer with kills of their own.
Tapping Buzz was just about to push over from Ratson over toward the mid, and he must have got a call out right there because he stops, backs down, and kind of baits Royal 2 out of that little camping position. Great communication, great listening, and it's going to pay off for Native White as they have taken the lead right here in crunch time, 41-40. Can Native White do this?
They should be able to, and I'm not sure what happened with Sniper there during all these exchanges. We're going to have to find out where that one snuck off to, but right now, Tapping Buttons just trying to hold off all these flanks. The way that I feel Tapping Buttons is playing right now, it makes me think that he's either defending an angle for a teammate, and he is. Mikwen does have Sniper. Going to reposition. Not going to go in an obvious spot because he knows that FaZe are going to be watching. And look at this. They are going to challenge for a moment, and FaZe has 2 options. They fly out and challenge Mikwen, or they rush out and challenge the other members of Native White, and they opt for option 2 as they go charging over towards OS side. And this is so frustrating as a Sniper player. Mikwen's just seeing his teammates being picked off over and over again on the opposite side of the map, and he has no angle to punish.
Looks like he's going to play a little bit slow here onto the next side, but it's only a moment before FaZe are able to identify exactly where he is. Now, no longer having the S7 as Native White, no longer having numbers indeed at 3, down they go. It's a 46-44 game. FaZe take back control.
FaZe has control, and can they keep it? Still 2-kill lead. They know someone's back at Mud. Now just a 1-kill game separating these 2 teams, and the action's going on over at Dummies and OS. Who is going to be able to get this OS? It comes up right now. Do they have a Shroud to block it? I don't think they do. I think Shroud is over towards back tower. Right now, Royal 2 and SnakeBite trying to bait this overshield, and Royal 2 gets to pick on Barcode. No more room for error. You can cannot jump and die at this overshield, but OS is in the hands of Native White. Can they make it for a push? Need to get 3 kills and 0 deaths, and that's not going to happen. FaZe go up 2-0 in the series as they take game number 2, 50-47.
Despite being able to get away with the overshield, somehow FaZe still put that 50th kill there. The underdogs not able to strike there in game number 2. FaZe gonna steal that one away. Now you're talking about just one more win away from taking this series. FaZe have looked dominant.
FaZe looking strong, but there's also some shaky moments in there. There was moments where once I saw FaZe was up 27-20, I was just thinking this game is over from here. And so it was really impressive from Native White to step it up, to bring that game back, to even get a short lead for a brief moment in time. But FaZe just too icy. They know how to close those games out.
And the funny thing is, I'm looking at the cameras right now. Close game, only was separated by 2, maybe 3 kills. That was a great end game for FaZe. And then you look at the cameras, they don't flinch. It's just another day in the office. Clock in, clock out. We're up 2-0. We're about to go in for the sweep.
They've had enough series in their life. They realize it's not over until it's over, and they know who they're facing on the other side. Those players in Native White are no joke, and they are not going to celebrate until the job is done.
I said I want to see some flashy snipes. Woo, that double kill. Oh my gosh. From no scope to quick scope, and that was a game-changing play. And be honest, when Barcode grabbed this overshield to clear out the seaside, I loved what I saw. I was like, okay, well, this is Native White are still in it, and they started to eat away at that lead. They kept it close. Native White obviously were still in that game number 2, and obviously they're down 0-2, but look how close that game 1 was. Look how close that game 2 was, even grabbing overshield towards the end game, which could have been the deciding factor. Native White have 100% been in it. They could maybe go back-to-back.
I mean, yeah, close as close can be. 1-cap game for game 1, 3-kill game for game 2. Either of those could have gone either way, but we are going to be going next onto the streets. It's going to be Stronghold on the streets, and we're going to have to see if the wind is out of their sail for Native White or if they are ready to fly. See what they can do on this faster-paced game.
I say it all the time, when you're looking for a fight, you got to take it to the streets. And the way you've been eyeballing me, somehow we might have take our stuff to the street. Nah. when I look at strongholds, when I look at streets, it's just another game type that kind of lends favor to FaZe. They up the tempo. They come in with so much aggression. And although that live fire was fairly slow for a FaZe game, I think when going into strongholds, they're going to get that double cap, turn it into a trip cap, and that's when things really start to snowball out of control. It's what we've seen so far from FaZe, and I don't think Native White want to see stronghold streets, to be honest with you.
You don't think so? This one's a tough one for them, you think?
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, when it came to like the slower methodical play in this games 1 and 2, I felt like Native White were doing fine. I really do. I mean, you can't really over-critique a game that is that close against one of the best teams here in Halo Infinite. If you're losing by small margins like that, you can't say, oh, they should have done all these things completely different. No, they were just right there. They just need to close out. They need to stop that trip cap or stop that 3rd cap. They need to tighten it up once they get that 1-kill lead. They need to not give up those last couple kills at OS. Just minor mistakes like that, Tony.
FaZe have always been dominant here on street strongholds, but hey, Barcode, he don't look scared. He looked ready. I see him on screen. He looks like he's ready to come back. I think Native White have what it takes to win it, but you got to take it one game at a time. It's really tough. I can imagine. I've never played at this level. I know you have, but you're down 0-2. I think it's really easy to say, we can win this one. When this one gets to a game 5, it kind of let everything get a little frantic, get a little bit out of control. But I think you slow things down. Take it one step at a time. Let's just go into game 3. Let's win stronghold streets and allow the rest of the dominoes to fall. I can imagine.
Ultimately, you just have to win the same amount of games. That's always how you have to have in your mind. And yes, of course, you want to be up in the series. You don't want the other team to have any games, but sometimes that's not the reality of the situation. So you need to take it game by game. And so right here, all Native White need to talk about is stronghold on the streets. What are the couple small things they want to focus on or change as they go into this game number 3? The past is past. Ignore those last 2 maps. Move on.
I'm trying to think back. I was looking over the stats, and I wish I would have wrote it down because I'm pretty sure it was FaZe versus 6 Karma. I'm pretty sure it was FaZe versus 6 Karma It's like a 250 to 0.
Oh,
It was
closed out that hard.
It was a bad one. So, going into Strongholds, I believe that was actually on Live Fire. So Streets, obviously a different map, but still same team, same game type, same dominance. I said it before, out of the Elite 3, Optic, FaZe, SSG, FaZe have been the most consistent over the last 3 online tournaments. They've never placed outside of the top 3. They come into LAN looking ready and looking to send a message here with a 3-0 versus Native White.
Yeah, not dropping a game in pool would be quite the statement. We'll see if FaZe are able to do that. And Renegade right off the start getting hit by some grenades over at Tires. Gonna see how he decides to react here. Looks like Royal 2 able to secure the first kill or third kill over onto Barcode, and that's going to be B Stronghold going in favor of FaZe. They know where their action's at. There's a fight going on in Tram. Looks like Frosty and Royal 2 are just battling in there.
Renegade with this Sentinel Beam, and let me tell you, this thing, whether it's online, whether it's land, whether it's on a Spartan or a vehicle, it rips shields, and you're seeing it even from long range. Normally used a lot closer, able to make tapping buns one shot, can't quite find the kill. Barcode and Native White clear out the B side, and even though FaZe were the first ones to get that double cap, it was only for a moment. Native White are the first ones to put points on the board.
And with that Sentinel Beam killing through the Shroud, I think this is a good time to give a life lesson out there. Even when it's sunny or overcast out there, you can still get burned by the sun, so make sure you wear that sunscreen.
Oh,
See? Fun and educational here, Tony.
I see that. Nerd. Barcode on the B-Wailing side, and woo! Taking down 2. That's going to be a killing spree by Barcode, and even though FaZe were able to trade out, they go 4 down. Nobody in the opportunity to stop the double cap. Nobody opportunity to stop the triple cap. Native White, a 55-0 run, and still counting.
Yeah, it's super surprising, especially that FaZe got 0 points after winning the break. The moment that they got B, A was already contested, and so it's a situation where Renegade and crew thought they were going to get trammed, thought they were going to hold B, and all of a sudden they lost the fight at C. They gave up A because they're taking C, and they are still at 0 points during this exchange. And look at both those bars, A and C, almost being converted the exact same time as these teams trade strongholds. So great objective play by Native White there to trade the stronghold rather than taking the fight.
We saw a great awareness play by SnakeBite to try to sit over towards the back PD side, but tapping buns made sure to clear that out. This A side has been cleared, and it's dominated by Native White, so it looks like FaZe have forced to rotate over towards B, and that works for them, able to win the Slays battle. Now you have the double cap. You have the strong side of the map and the strongest point in B. FaZe will trade out A for B any day.
Yeah, that's a worthwhile trade. A is probably it's the tougher stronghold to get to. Both A and C are kind of the tougher strongholds to get to. B is going to be the one that's going to be the most heavily contested. So when you get one of those more out-of-the-way strongholds, you're going to have to do less fights to take care of it. You can see the flanks coming from further away. That's one of the reasons why they'll keep going for those side ones.
Almost on a 100-point lead coming out of Native White. Been telling y'all, it's the first 2 games were close, and now you're seeing Native White really feeling themselves here on Streets Strongholds, which I would imagine would normally favor FaZe, but Native White answering right back, 116-7 run, still holding on to the double cap, but Renegade has the stalker.
Renegade picking off Gilkey there, trying to hide in the arcade. And as I'm looking at the slays, FaZe are only getting outslayed by 3 kills right now, but look at those points. 125-point lead there for Native White goes to show that once you get the lead here, or the Stronghold's lead, you can just trade out slays and go even, and your points are going to keep racking up. So great job by Native White to outplay when it comes to rotations and grabbing the strongholds.
But they did end up going 3 down, and FaZe is going to take advantage of that immediately, pushing up over towards Bravo, now having an anchor position in Renegade with this Stalker. He's going to be so tough to deal with. Another assist pops up on the board. FaZe making it a 3v2, continuing to put down damage. This is what FaZe have to do, but as I say that, FaZe get wiped. Native White with the Rockets.
And now do Native White go for this trip cap? It looks like they're just opting to try to trap them in over at PD. They know these players are coming out, tapping buttons in a 1v2. These players were damaged, but not that damaged to challenge that hard, and tapping buttons does not care. Kills both SnakeBite and Frosty. to clear out the back of A.
Renegade back towards the A, continuing to fight over it. Gilkey trades out his life there. Excellent nade coming out of him, but even better nades coming out of FaZe. Frosty clears out Mikwen. Barcode now a bit by himself, but he has to try to make something happen. He needs some kind of map presence. Can't allow FaZe to steal away Bravo for free. He needs to do something with the Bulldog.
Just like this, trying to close that gap, but this is tough. Any fights coming over from Tires gonna be long range. Any of these players come from PD know he's gonna be there, but somehow still gets a close range fight against SnakeBite and happy to trade out kills. And before we know it, this game has already spiraled so far out of control, Tony. 207 to 17, a near 200-point lead here for Native White.
I just saw Native White go 3 down. I'm like, oh man, that must be troublesome for them, but they still hold on to the double cap. They still have this crazy lead. Somehow Native White, that's about maybe the 3rd or 4th time I've seen them go 3 down, but FaZe haven't been able to play through it. Native White come off a spawn, and they make their presence known immediately. They immediately fight for map position once they hit the battlefield.
And they've just been doing an incredible job of, like I said, just those rotations and trading slays. It's not like Native White are just insanely outslaying this FaZe clan. They are, anytime a member of FaZe clan is pushing over towards Native White's stronghold, Native White gives up that stronghold, pushes on over and takes over the FaZe clan stronghold. So they don't even need to win a fight there. And if they meet them somewhere in the middle of the map, they trade out slays, and they're racking up points that entire time. So it's just brilliant rotations there by Native White, which give them this massive lead, despite only outslaying FaZe by 5 kills.
And you saw another rotation going over toward the Charlie side. Looks like FaZe were able to deal with 1, but it continues to come. Native White eventually stealing Charlie once again. SnakeBite goes down. Mikwen this time with the Stalker rifle. Native White once again with the double cap, and now they're flirting around with the lead. They're almost at that 250-point mark. Can FaZe stop them here?
I don't know if they haven't been able to do it these last 6 minutes. What's going to change right now at the bitter end? We're going to see they've at least stopped the score for a moment, but Native White are in such a good position. They just have to get 1 round of outslaying. They can rotate on over and grab the stronghold. Or they can just stick to their plan anyways. Even if they're going even in slays, it feels like Native White know how to rotate better here on this map.
Frosty over toward the Tire side, trying to stop the Native White defense. They are able to get a couple of kills on their side, but like you said, Native White continue to out-rotate. That's another stolen base they have no business getting. An Alpha Charlie setup, and now that FaZe are pushing Alpha, Native White, they might have an avenue over towards the Bravo side.
Frosty grabbing A. Now, I do feel like FaZe have done a better job of slowing this down, but when you're down by this amount in the game, you almost have to rely on a trip cap rather than trying to hold a dub cap for the next 5 minutes, what it feels like. So I feel like we're going to see FaZe go for the trip cap, which they did. They got the trip cap. Now, how long do they hold on to it? Do they know where they're spawning? It looks like Frosty's trying to keep eyes over at the arcade, but they were behind you. That's a tapping button, sneaking on over towards the cafe, getting the kills, and that's going to be A and B transferring over in the hands of Native White. They just got to hold this on for 15 points.
FaZe did a great job of stopping the Native White push over toward the Bravo side, but eventually Native White, they keep pushing. They're resilient. Another double cap taking both Alpha and Bravo. 5 seconds away. FaZe need to find themselves over toward Alpha and Bravo. They need to find it fast, but Native White get another 2 kills, and they have run out of time. Native White steal game 3.
A 1-kill difference in slaying between these two teams, but the scoreboard tells a different story. Objective efficiency there from Native White, getting the slays where they needed to, rotating when they needed to, and shutting down FaZe.
This is actually the first loss that FaZe have received all tournament. They were 6-0 up until now. Now, I don't know. The script has been thrown out. FaZe are supposed to go undefeated in pool play. At least that's what I was told. Native White take 1, but they still have a mountain to climb if you want to pull off the reverse sweep. It may start with a game 3 win, but they have to take a game 4 win, which is going to be another objective before we get to that game 5.
Well, they didn't just find that last objective. What game number 4 is going to be a recharge King of the Hill. So when I'm talking about kind of objective modes, it's similar to Strongholds, not quite the same. There's just going to be the one spot to focus on. So yes, Native White can rotate around, but it won't be as effective as how they were trading out their A and C stronghold back and forth like we saw during this game number 3 on Street.
And Recharge has gotten a little bit of a change where, I've kind of talked about this before, you can be a little bit more scrappier with that hill, because you step foot in that hill, you capture almost instantly, where before it kind of took a second or two. So you would step in, you end up getting slayed out before you even put any time on the board. So lots of times we see teams like to out-rotate early because like, we have no chance of stopping this. Now, you can be a bit scrappy. It's kind of a never give up, and Recharge's also seen the change from that hill going long haul side into C. So again, a little bit more of a scrappier hill now in that hill too.
Yeah, I feel like there's a few hills that really benefit from that scrappiness, and particularly the very first hill, the Needler Hill, and then also I think that the hill down the Repulsor, I think that's also the one that kind of benefits quite a bit from it. All the other ones, like I feel like over at C Plat and Elevator, you're still just kind of sticking that one. Like once you have control, you're kind of sticking in there, and then when you don't have control, you're kind of bailing from it.
Well, Native White, they want a little bit of a roll right now. You just got to keep on rolling. You finally found the weakness in FaZe, which so far nobody's been able to do before you. Right? If you're on Native White's team, you know, whether you're coaching, whether you're playing, what are you saying to the troops? Say, hey, look, we noticed the top 3 team. We noticed the number 2 seed coming into Dallas. How are you going to motivate the troops to take a game forward?
Well, you know that a squad like Native White have their sights set on that. Even though 4th place in most people's eyes is a great placing, and it's a great placing, don't get me wrong, but these players have their sights set high. They know that they want to break into that top 3. They want to be in a grand finals. And in order to do that, you're going to have to beat one of these teams. And their first opportunity to do that is here in pool play against FaZe today. So I would say they aren't fearful. They are looking forward to this opportunity, and they want to challenge FaZe right here, right now.
So it sounds like what you're saying is, in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. If you want to be in that top 3, you're going to have to upset a top 3 team. So why not do it here in pool play? And I'm right there with you. Again, Native White have shown that they're better on land. They didn't play well pre of those qualifiers going into Charlotte. We talked about before, out of open bracket, into top 4 on land. And even today, you're talking about the last 3 online tournaments finishing outside the top 8. Let's be honest, I'm mince words. It was an abysmal performance. But Mikwen and the boys, they look angry. They look like they want to right the ship, and they want to prove that once it gets to land where it matters most, that's where they truly shine.
They got their chance right now looking at Barcode stats there on map number 3. We want to see him activated, and he has been 1.9 KD, which is absolutely huge. I mean, he went 19 kills and 10 deaths. He was positive on the squad. The only other member positive on the squad was Gilkey with a 13 kill and 12 death game.
It's funny too, because Barcode, he plays on a really high sensitivity. So when I'm watching the screen, I get dizzy. I don't know how he's able to hit 2 shots in a row, let alone get a 4th shot, let alone put 19 kills on the board. If I tried to copy his sensitivity right now, I promise I'm goosey next game.
No, these players, it's the sensitivity, especially with those vertical battles, it comes into such a strong advantage when you play it right, and if you can control it, like you said. Most importantly, can you control it? It's and I always tell people when they're trying to say, what sensitivity should be playing at? And it's like, you should worry about at mid-range battles, how often, what's your most consistent sensitivity? What's the highest that you can go that you can still consistently win your mid-range battles? Because all the other battles, long range, you can back away. You don't have to always challenge and fight. They're important battles, but that's a good indicator of how you should be adjusting your sensitivity. Win those mid-range fights.
See, I have a different philosophy.
Oh, God, what is it?
Put 2 shots and run away from every battle. I can't shoot. So I put 2 shots at every play, and I just run away. I'm hiding. I'm going to let my teammates shine. I don't come out with the most kills, but I promise you, my assists, they be up there. Either way, you got to make sure your damage up there. You got to make sure your shots up there. You got to make sure you're on your P's and Q's, because Recharge, King of the Hill, is unforgiving. And Native White, they want to pull off the reverse sweep. We already saw one quadra reverse sweeping G1. Maybe Native White can do the same against FaZe Clan.
We're going to find out. Barcode got the info, saw how many were going towards control. Shots laid down. Gonna somehow take that angle fight against SnakeBite over towards top control and burn that OS. So what looked like a good start there from Native ends up falling. All 4 members down.
And what makes that even worse is that not only are you going forward down, not only do you have no chance of getting first progression on this hill, but every resource, whether it be the shock rifle, the active camouflage, you have given to FaZe. High ground right here as a double push out of FaZe, but somehow Native White strike back, get a double push of their own, and the shock will end up changing hands.
I like this play by Barcode, just reposition. They know shock rifle is over that spot. See if you can get a surprising kill somewhere else across the map. Right now his team's grabbing up time and knows somebody's back towards the Hydro. Ends up giving the shock rifle as a gift over to Royal 2, saying, sorry I hurt you earlier, please don't hurt me back. Mikwen and crew are battling still back Hydro, and that shock rifle is going to go in the water. So we'll wait to see that one spawn back on up.
That is the best thing to do. Like, so far, everybody's picked up that shock rifle has immediately gone down. It's obviously cursed. Get it off the map and wait for the next one. That's the strategy you need. That's exactly what we see implemented here. But this first hill, so tough here. 2 down go FaZe, but looks like Native White are looking to push forward. They have that progression on the hill when they're so close to stealing hill 1.
Yeah, stealing is the exact right word here, because think about how big of a lead FaZe got off the start of that, given how they got all 4 down. But Native White just seem to be better when it comes to these strongholds and hills. They seem just be in the better positions at better times. So we're going to see how they keep this rolling here, because the way I'm seeing it right now is we're going to go to a game 5 if Native White keep playing like this.
They say luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and Native White looked well prepared and well coordinated to take that hill back from FaZe, and now they continue to roll it forward. That's another squad wipe going in favor of Native White. They get first progression on this hill. They're looking to go 2-up.
And shock rifle should be up soon as well, but Gilkey knows the push is coming on towards pipes. Wisely backs down, realizes they got a little bit of damage in there, but cannot fight a 2v1, especially without those grenades. Sees this weak kill, gets the kill, and decides to go for the shock rifle.
And now Gilkey finds himself behind 2 different FaZe members, actually make it one because tapping button takes down Renegade. And even though Frosty goes right back at him, the flank eventually catches up, and Gilkey puts FaZe 2 down. But hold on. 2 more members of FaZe are within position. They're stopping Gilkey from getting anywhere near that hill.
That is fine, though. If you're Gilk, you are fine as long as you're laying some damage down and then rotating back towards glass. This position is so good from Gilkey because he's able to lay down shots all across the map, rotate back and forth unexpectedly, and either members of FaZe have to go completely out of position to get Gilkey, or Gilkey's going to be damaging them from the sides and from the back.
Gilkey looking different. See, he's from New York. See, I can tell right now. You may see him in a jersey, but he got the tank top underneath. He got some Timbs on. He's ready to stomp somebody out. New York doing different. Gilkey with the shock. Another body shot onto SnakeBite. Doesn't get the kill, but still able to get the assist. And more importantly, this back C side, this spawn is being blocked. Native White want this back C positioning, but apparently so do FaZe.
Yeah, and Royal 2 just trying to stay alive back here. And as this is challenged, going to eventually make their last push in here. Here's their last opportunity to stop this. They get the stop. They're going to clear out all these members of Native White. And now FaZe need to hold a perfect setup here to get this second hill.
Nice triple coming out of Royal 2. Native White still 1 break away. Like you said, like literally a sliver needed for them to take yet another hill. But with Royal 2 snatching up this camouflage, get over here, says Royal 2, but it looks like Native White anticipated. They're going to rush them quickly. A double kill out of Renegade does slow Native White down. Momentary 1v1, but Mikwen knows he can steal this one away right in the hill. That's 2-0 for Native White.
Yeah, during that 1v1, it was all 4 members down for FaZe, so someone spawned across the map. Mikwen knew that was going to be a free hill. No one's going to spawn in vision to take out Mikwen fast enough. So secures that hill number 2, and the fight begins for Elevator. Looks like FaZe Clan has the better position here going into this 3rd hill, but As soon as you get control of elevator, it's such a strong spot to hold, so we're going to have to see how do these slays go. That's going to be 1 going in the favor of Native White. That's 2 down for FaZe. Can Mikwen, Barcode, and tapping buttons secure these last kills to keep control of this center elevator?
You talked about it before, and I swear you weren't lying. Sometimes when you get that hill, one lockdown, one setup can take away a hill, but Native White break FaZe before they get to that 50% portion, and now look at that scoreline, look at that bar once again. Native White showing that objective efficiency, not only showing that they can hold onto a setup, but they can break them as well.
I like this play by Jose. He is just sitting in elevators, isolating a 1v1. So if tapping buttons was looking all the way over towards Turbine, any members from Pipes, any members over at Turbine, any members that were within that vision could have laid down shots on tapping buttons. What tapping buttons was forcing was a close range fight, so that even if they had 2 members, he could isolate a fight and potentially trade or get a kill.
Yoki wanted to get that entry frag kill right there to slow down FaZe, but it's not going to happen. So we should see a punch for this hill. Native White almost able to steal it away, and FaZe put their first on the board. And not only that, but they're immediately attacking tower. They're immediately attacking this 3rd hill. They don't want to allow Native White to get first feet down.
They are just looking back here around Hydro. They know there's some action. They know there's a fight going on. That's going to be Camo on the ground. Does Renegade decide to sprint for it? He does. He's going to grab it. Does he slam it in? There it is. That's going to be Camo here for FaZe. Now let's see how they decide to use this. Because as this hill is down in the tunnel, these players are going to be coming over from batteries, from unique angles, so he can either be a detriment and fighting over there, or he needs to help secure back Hydro. It looks like he's opting to hold the center of the map, which I agree. You want to be over in more open areas as you have that Camo instead of slight tunnels, but tapping buttons, hitting that R trigger, taking off Renegade's face with a shock rifle, and getting control here of the 4th hill.
I'll be honest with you, I thought Renegade played that camouflage perfect.
Same.
He lured Native White. It's like a false sense of security, got a couple of slays, but then tapping buttons comes in with that shock rifle and shows that he is a game changer. 2-1 so far for Native White. If they go up 3-1, that puts FaZe in dangerous territory. Tapping buttons does everything can to stay alive, active, listening, shoots the guy over toward the tower side, so not only taking hill time, but also slaying as well. Tapping buttons is doing it all.
Doing great work there, giving his team a fighting chance here on hill number 4. And these next slays are going to decide it. Unfortunately, Gilkey falls. That means Barcode and Mikwen are going to be completely outnumbered. But FaZe are not jumping the hill just yet. They now jump in the hill, but you have to wonder, are they jumping in a little too late? Are they not taking advantage of the slays that they have? And now the push comes in. That's Royal 2 and SnakeBite both falling. It's going to be a 2v2, and you know what Native White are going to do. They're going to jump in that hill right away.
Native White double feet in hill, trying to stop it, but a backsmack from Renegade. Never give up your back, and FaZe come right in, clearing out this side, and they might be able to tie it up with that. You can't give up a backsmack like that. That's devastating.
Yeah, I'm expecting Native White to give up this hill and just focus on the next one, but Camo in the hands of Renegade's going to make that difficult. Best case is you tie with that and trade it out, and that's going to be tapping buttons taking out Renegade before you do more damage with that Camo.
It was a great start for Native White, but to be honest with you, they're starting to lose steam now. You've allowed FaZe to take back-to-back kills, and granted that A side, like I kind of talked about, what is really tough to fight for and break that setup. That C1, that was yours, and FaZe are stealing it away. Now Frosty stealing away lives with this shock rifle. He said, somebody get in that hill. I got some slaying to do. I need to hold down this perimeter and make sure that Native White cannot sneak into Native Gold side.
Yeah, that was such a great relocation there by Frosty. And you need to be doing that when you have that weapon, especially when you can just set your team up. You cannot all be confined in this one area. When it comes to holding the elevator side, you need somebody there to deny someone coming over top or lower catwalk. But after that, you need to be worried more about pipes, having some pressure over near the batteries or top glass. And it looks like Frosty decides to fill in the role of grabbing the hill and is going to rotate back and forth. So we're going to see what he decides to do after this next slay.
FaZe have such an advanced understanding of how to play the space. Like, they know that once they get weaker, they're going to retreat. They're retreating back to the A side. They're not going to give that up. That spawn is too important. This positioning is too good, too much cover, but Native White, they're sending 3, if not more. A triple push over towards Whirlpool. FaZe may not want to give it up easily, but Native White are willing to take it.
And then we're about to see this next camo coming up soon. One thing that FaZe been doing is they've been grabbing them. The first one that we saw, or I'd say 2 camos ago, that Renegade had, you said it played perfectly. Tapping buttons, took them out basically with a 6-shot rifle shot. Now the second one after that, tapping buttons once again, denied that camo. So huge props to tapping buttons for being able to neutralize it, but you cannot just be giving camos up for free like that. So let's see whose hands it goes into as that new camo came up not too long ago.
2 caps go in favor of FaZe, but Native White finally able to answer back, and that's going to be a swing. Hill number 5, 3-2, Native White 1 hill away from taking this game and forcing us into an elimination game 5. Native White with yet another camo. FaZe, they gotta wake up.
They have to wake up, and this one's going to be tough because you have camo in the hands of Native White. They also won the very first hill last time. They know where one of these last members are over at Needler. They're going to be able to scrap up a little bit more time here. This is just a dangerous set of circumstances here for FaZe Clan.
Native White fighting over that C-plat control. That's the spawn that they want. And if Native White can really start to punish FaZe off of Slays and block A and C and force FaZe over toward the gold side, that could be huge. But it starts with the C-side control, and oh my gosh. What did I just see?
Having trust in teammates is what you saw. SnakeBite, despite panicking and jumping, still landing his shots. And Frosty from the side also laid in shots to get that kill before Mikwen was able to clear that one up. So that is a rare circumstance, but during that time, Barcode and crew still scrapped up time, gets a double kill, and he says, let's go! Native White are bringing this to a game 5.
They ain't waving the white flag anytime soon. They're sending this into a game number 5, and Native White looking to put another reverse sweep on the board, looking to win another upset, this time against FaZe Clan. All that momentum is on their side. Native White, they might have made a believer out of me. I'm starting to believe right now.
They are looking scary. This is also a situation, looking at the kills again, very close, neck and neck. Native White outslaying FaZe. 76 kills to 72 on FaZe's end. Also, when I look at tapping buttons kills, he was 20 kills, 9 assists, 15 deaths. But when I think about some of those kills he's getting, taking down Renegade as camo, 2 different occasions, holding down the hill throughout the tunnel, just so many crucial plays as he's also working towards the objective.
It's crazy to me that as long as Native White are able to keep up in the Slays department and make it close, you don't have to try to beat FaZe and outslay them by 20, 30 kills. But that objective efficiency has really been great on Native White. It tells me they've been well prepared for this moment coming into LAN. But now we're going into Slayer. Now we're going to game 5. When I think of FaZe, I think of ice.
You think they're going to be icy here? It's worth noting, I mean, we haven't seen, we're going to see another Aquarius Team Slayer for game number 5. This one, we've been able to see some teams slow it down, see some teams go quick. I really don't know how to read this situation. I mean, there's a lot of times I give credit to FaZe as I see them, like you said, they're the more structured, more veteran team. They've had more success, more tournament wins over the years. At the same time, you're talking about a series right now that you are up 2-0 in if you're FaZe. You got all the momentum in the world in the favor of Native White. This is a situation that they were dreaming of starting in game 3. They said, just get me to a game 5 and let's see what happens.
I remember when watching the FaZe documentary when they were talking about when they first brought Renegade on, they said that one of their weaknesses was like not getting a hold and taking advantage of the sandbox, which obviously we know is so important here in Halo Infinite. They talked about how in Halo 5, for example, they out-strategized their opponents. They didn't ever need the power weapons, even though they could still play through it. On a map like Aquarius, like you have the thrust, you have the camouflage, but honestly, it's your gunfights. It's your map positioning, it's your communication, it's your ability to change the tempo. You don't have rockets or sniper. This might be the exact Game 5 map that FaZe want to play.
Yeah, this is going to play more like Halo 5 than any other ones. You're worried about those thrusts. You're worried about a camo. You're worried about those dinos. So out of those...
And those have been nerfed.
Dinos nerfed a little bit too. So yeah, it's going to come down to who's controlling more of those thrusts and that camo. Yes, Heat Wave is going to come into play, but it's going to be coming more into play as your team has an advantage. You're going to be going more in the hunt with that as you get a team secured or locked into a util or to a base. Prior to that, during those neutral situations, it's going to be tough to make good use of that heat wave. What a nade. What kind of nade is that? What kind of starts are we seeing out of here out of Native White? Incredible. Well, that's going to be 2 down going for each side. That camo's being grabbed by Gilkey. Gilkey fighting for his life and going to be traded out. I don't think Gilkey had time to activate that, so we're going to have to see if someone was able to grab that camo, but there's a chance that Gilkey burned it, so we'll find out shortly.
What do you old people call that? What is that called? A GB nade? What is Golden Boy nade? I don't know. I don't know. I hear you old guys say it once in a while.
Game battles nades just flying out there. Some of those kids, you'd play them online, and guess what? During the first start, they would have some sick starting strat, but when it came to the other 99% of the game, you had them on lockdown.
Well, as of right now, both Native White and FaZe want to lock down this car side of the map, and looks like that's not the fight that FaZe wanted to take, so they quickly kind of moonwalk out of it. They want to make sure they secure some damage or secure a slay. Beautiful shots out of SnakeBite. Watch the fangs.
Just hitting those shots, up by 5 kills. This is not a good start here for Native White. What looked like it was okay by trading on a couple kills each is slowly spiraling out of control. I mean, there is now a 7-kill lead here in favor of FaZe. Any 1v1s you get, if you're a Native White member, like we saw from Mikwen right there, you have to win those fights if you want to have a chance in this game.
Once again, FaZe clear out that car side, that utility side. They back right up over towards the map position, but tapping bunch coming right through utility, gets a beautiful double kill of his own, and that opens that car side up once again for Native White. And that's a little cheeky play. Hold on. We might see a bait and switch. Just tapping buns once backsmack SnakeBite on live fire with overshield with a similar play. It looks like they're trying to bait him out to that again.
I like the play, recognizing players are going to maybe be coming from there, but we're going to have to see how long he commits to it. And there it is! Woo! Gets the backsmack on Frosty, just baiting a player out. And one thing that was so brilliant about that play is it was also being sold so well from Barcode. Barcode isn't just sitting there trying to fight. He's instead shooting across the map, making it so it looks like he's fully oblivious on his right side, leaving that range open. And so those sort of sells from your teammates are really what allow certain backsmacks like that to take place, along with that incredible positioning there by tapping buttons.
Hiding in corners, waiting for your opponents to cross, camping. Yeah, I'm sure Scump and the boys at the watch party are loving that. Those are Call of Duty strats. I want to see some Halo.
Fighting on over at Pink, a 3-kill game all of a sudden here by Native White, somehow bringing this back from a 7-kill deficit. Is this going to be the opportunity that they need to bring this one in? And that's going to be Tap Buns with our backsmack onto Royal 2, and they're on the hunt to make that 3 members from FaZe all running away towards Pink. They're getting isolated, and these members of Native White are not holding back. They're going to charge all the way across. Look at Mikwen charging from top center to continue that pressure over at Pink.
Just a 1-kill game. Long-range shots started to connect for Native White, scaring FaZe and chasing them off of their yard, allowing Native White to address both the P side and the car side at the same time. There is a player riding over towards Fridge. They're not going to allow Frosty in their base like that, so clear him out real quick. Try to get right back in, but hold on. Renegade, he has himself a heater.
He's got his thrust, he's got his heat wave, and he's laying down some shots. I want to see how Renegade repositions here. He wants to be up close and personal with these members, and somehow gets negated by tapping buttons. Every single time we see something going strong for FaZe, tapping button answers with a couple kills, leading his team tied with Mikwen with 9 kills apiece, trying to keep Native White in the lead here as they now took the lead 27-26 over FaZe.
I don't like to harp on the stats. I understand that not all kills and not all damage is created equal, but not only is tapping buns leading this team when it comes to damage and KD, but the impactful kills, whether it's the sneaky kills like the backsmacks or just winning those 1v1 fights, tapping buns is an all-star and one of the reasons why Native White are here in this Game 5.
Yeah, there's a massive difference between killing somebody who has 1 or 2 shots left on them and killing a camo player, backsmacking a full shield Frosty. Those are difference makers, and we see this game neck and neck. We're now to the 30-kill mark. FaZe, their lead once at 7, now dwindled down to just 1 kill. How are they going to react? Because they've been stuck at Pink here for a while.
Well, I heard a wise man say that Slayers don't start until you hit that 30 kill mark, so it's 30 to 29 in favor of FaZe at the moment. Native White have played great up until now, but at some point, you have to turn these 1 and 2 off kills into 3 downs and take the lead on FaZe, who are huddled up here on the P side. Native White kind of spacing out a little bit. Couple of shots from World 2, then force one to back down. Even gets a couple of shots onto the next target. Demands a moving turret.
Yeah, and I don't know if I like this position from FaZe. At pink, it's an okay supplement to the rest of your setup, but I feel like you need one of the bases in order to make this really effective. And here comes the push in from Native White. They take out Frosty, they take out Royal 2, but now it's a 2v2. I like this play from Renegade. Get out of dodge, get out of pink while you can. He's gonna get a flank of his own and see what he can make happen here.
You see tapping buttons, the first one over towards utility. He's in the back right out, tries to bait and switch. Renegade somehow gets first shot onto Gilkey, and that's gonna be a big kill. Barcode comes in quickly for the cleanup, but I thought Gilkey was about to get an easy kill, and I thought Native White were gonna get car control because of it.
And looks like now car control in favor of FaZe. Look at that duo bait and switch there from Royal and Co. over at top car. I like this position at top car a little more than pink because you just have safer routes into the bases if you want to go there. You can go in the utils. You can make it into really tough to pinch spots. Whereas pink, players can just start to slowly put the pressure in towards the sides of pink. And just like that, we see FaZe out of pink, and we see FaZe in the lead by 5 kills.
Renegade and SnakeBite attacking that base from the P side and the car side at the same time, trapping Native White, and Renegade still with this camouflage wants to get every last bit of value. The nade might connect on one, if not both of those players, but more importantly, open up for another collapse. Roll 2 and Frosty right back in. There's only one more player of Native White left. He's running away toward the spawning players of Native White. Luckily, they spawn right in on the car side.
Yeah, and just some bait and switches also as well over at the util. Keeping this lead every single time you see Native White get a kill, the kill is just answered right back. A wingman there for Frosty, rewarding him for all his assists so far this life. And this game is looking like it's over with this 9-kill lead by FaZe. They started off strong, had a rough middle, but they're closing it out just the way they started.
A fire has been lit under the bellies of FaZe, and they came into Aquarius looking a bit different. Once again, Native White kept it close, but at a certain point, FaZe, they took over, they dominated, and now we're talking about just one more kill needed after Renegade takes down tapping buttons. World 2 already blocking the car side exit for Native White, and he has a spawner right in front of him. That's unfortunate. Tapping buttons is not happy about that.
Yeah, not too happy about that spawn, about that timing, and FaZe going to close it out, going to deny that reverse sweep. It just shows why they are different. They could be having a couple rough games in game 3 and 4, but they will bounce back when it counts to close that out. So FaZe going to take the first place in their pool.